Marketing campaigns don't pay us money. Only customers pay us money.
Right. And so the good thing is we're finding that more and more companies are realizing that and making customer metrics part of their KPIs, not just on the marketing dashboards, but also at the organization, top of the organization, as opposed to just looking at sales production, top line revenues, earnings before interest and taxes, bottom line profit, that kind of thing. Increasingly, we find them looking at things like customer affinity scores, like net promoter, customer profitability scores, and the changes in those profitability. They're holding people accountable. We think this is a critical step, and I think the research played out that the gap between where they are in their customer orientation and their capabilities, the capabilities are improving.
Let me give you another example. We did some work with Verizon Wireless that's jointly owned by Verizon and Vodafone. And in one 3-year period, they experienced a lot of growth just a few years ago. And during that period, they were able to increase their operating earnings during that period by $13.7 billion, so a huge increase. And so they shouted that, and Wall Street loved it. Wow, this is really cool. But very quietly during the same period, they were able to cut their monthly customer churn, their turnover, where they lose customers after replace them, from 2.6% to 1.3%. So they cut it in half. That's amazing. But they didn't make a big deal out of that, because the things that you do to increase your operating earnings by $13.7 billion means that you just get another customer, you get another customer, and we put a new handset in your hand, and put a new handset in your hand, and that's what you have to do to cut your monthly customer churn is I have to do things that improve my service quietly, that cost money, but that make sure that when you renew your contract, that you renew it with me, that you don't go out and change companies and change phones. And those kinds of things don't show up in this quarter's profits. So we got to make sure that if you lose your phone, we can get you put back together really quickly. That we, that the service is good. That we're putting in, and that cost a lot of money. But we calculated that during that time, that cut and churn actually added value to the company of $10.2 billion.
That's amazing.
It is, but they didn't make a big deal out of it because they were afraid that Wall Street would say, well, why did you spend money on this when you could have even gotten more customers and increased that 13.7 to a higher number? But we did calculate that their return on customer during that period was nearly 70%. Well, and I'm sorry, just one second. And that their nearest competitor was about 19% return on customer, and that all of the rest of their competitors were below 0%. Now, I got to tell you something. I went out when we found this out, I went out and dropped my phone service, I won't say with which company, and became a Verizon customer, because I'd rather be the customer of a company with a 68% ROC than the customer of a company with a -0 ROC.
Well, and there's other examples of that.
One second. And so basically, and I got to ask you, which one would you rather work for, and which one would you rather invest in? Now. Yeah.
Well, just beyond the return on customer, Frederick Rodcliffe, Bain consultant, 30 years of research around loyalty and its impact on profitability. Yeah. A 5% increase in loyalty he's demonstrated across companies, across his 30 years of research across the world. 5%, there's a compelling case there. He also notes in his research, in his last book, The Ultimate Question, that loyalty leaders, companies that do this well, grow revenues at twice the rate of loyalty laggers. But there's still the case, Martha, of what does a company look like if they're levels 1 through 3, lower levels of maturity versus 4 and 5. And you gave a great example with cell phone. U.S. Bank is a good example. They are a top 5 financial services company in the U.S. U.S. Bank, their old business model, if they were at level 3, let's say levels 1 through 3, which they were many years ago, what would the experience look like as a customer? Well, likely if you had a son or daughter about to go to college, you may be getting offers from their retail bank, from their investment house, stocks and bonds, from their insurance arm, all saying, boy, have we got the right solution for you. Please come to us. And if you think about it, it's training you to buy product level, feature, function, price, and they're telling you that they don't really understand what's best for you. They're saying, we've got a lot of products, come to us.
Sometimes they'll offer you something you already have.
Right, exactly. Or they might sell you something that you don't use profitably. First Manhattan Consulting Group demonstrated 50% of retail banking customers are unprofitable. 3 out of 4 cross sales destroys value. Contrast that to the U.S. Bank of today, levels 4 and 5. They orchestrate all customer contact at the top of the bank to where they say, yes, we understand you have a child about to go to college. Yes, here are all the products you might be considering, and yes, we have all those products. However, based on our unique understanding of you, we think this product is best for you, and here's why. Well, now they've differentiated themselves from the competitive clutter, the motto-line single-service product providers, because they're taking what they know about you, all this learning they have, and they're moving into the role of trusted advisor. They're saying, this is what we think is best for you. And oh, by the way, yes, we have these other offerings too.
Irish Life did that over on this side of the pond. When they did that for their insurance agents, instead moving from let's sell products to now let's understand this client and then let's put together an offer that's generated. And it's pulled together automatically by their system, their customer insight system. And when they changed over, the customer now is 4 times as likely to buy. So it's much, much more relevant. And I'll tell you something else that we see happening is implicit there is a reduced cost to sell. So now an agent makes one pitch where you used to have to make, 4 to make a sale. And it also means that there's a difference in that orientation. This is part of that customer orientation. Imagine ING Bank in Europe does a good job, and one of the things they do is if you go to the ING ATM and you ask for some cash and you don't have that much cash in your account, then ING will give you what you have, and then will automatically spring into action, check your credit rating, give you an offer, and they either mail it to you or email it to you, depending on what you prefer, and it's made just for you. And so it's the right size, it's exactly the right timing, it's exactly the right product, and they get better than a 50% positive response rate.
And the exciting thing, Martha, see the technology exists today to make all that possible.